Good morning. It's about 6:30 in the morning and I'm already up with the critters. I can't ever hardly sleep it. If I sleep until 7 o'clock in the morning, that's good these days. And it's crazy because that used to be so hard for me to get up that time of day, even when I was going to school. Hello, Walter. Isis, you ready to go in? We got some enough diced tomatoes I want to can today. It's my day off. The heat index is going to be high. And Junior's telling us all about his life problems, and I'm at least trying to get a start on this because it's going to get hot and I want to get a batch going. So I got some smaller jars out for now. I still want to get some pints out. I got dishes to do, you know. That's where I'm at on dishes. We got some clean though, so I got to work on that. I'm going to work on the tomatoes first, obviously, because it's going to get hot and heat up this house. Tomatoes are my #1 priority this morning, and then I will work on plants in the meantime and sit on the porch with Walter and spend time with him and give him his lovin's that he's going to want. I've almost got this first batch ready. I've got enough to run 2 or 3 batches, really, depending on the size of jars I use. I'm trying to get my smaller jars filled up first because a lot of recipes call for like 1 or 2 cups or one store-bought can of tomatoes, and so these pint sizes, they work great for that. I also want to get more pint sizes and half pint sizes because of the broth situation. A lot of recipes call for a cup of broth. So I like to keep little jars of that kind of stuff around for that kind of reason, for recipe calls. I've learned that homesteading and trying to make a lot of my own ingredients where I can. If you obviously have a bigger family than just me and Chad and the occasional company, you're going to want bigger jars, obviously. But for us, that just does just fine. And, you know, I do can bigger things, too. If I'm wanting to make big batches of things. And if you've been watching my channel long enough, you will know I have been doing this for a long time and I do not follow USDA guidelines. If that's not your cup of tea, go somewhere else or continue to watch and see what I do. I don't know. But I'm not going to change my ways just because the government tells me to. I also reuse store-bought jars. Like, this is a nice little pesto. I like the pesto. And as long as the gaskets and stuff are fine on the lids, there's no reason you cannot can with these jars. And even several times after the first time you can with them. And I like to add salt to my canning stuff, but I'm running low on salt. Look at my hair. It's going to be a hot, humid day. So I'm going to skip the salt this time. It's not necessary, but a little booster of lemon juice, especially since some of these tomatoes are lower in acidity. This is going to help your canning process. This is necessary, especially if you're water bath canning. It just gives it a little extra insurance policy that the acidity is right. You could also use vinegar if you want. And it doesn't really flavor the tomatoes. You really can't tell it's in there. Alright, and so then you take the little thing, get the air bubbles out. I'm going to start my stock pot up here, water bath canning pot, whatever you want to call it. Then I keep a little jar under the kitchen sink for this reason, just so I have some on hand and ready to go for cleaning purposes. And most specifically, cleaning my canning jar so I could dip a paper towel. Usually it's it's just a washcloth, and wipe the top of the rims off with the vinegar. That way the seals have the best chance. Then you just make sure the lids are hand tight. They don't have to be super tight, because trust me, after they've been canned and you try to take those lids off, sometimes not even a man can help you get them off. So don't put them on too tight. I reuse lids too. Look, they tell you not to use them, but there's nothing wrong with the lid itself and the gasket, so I reuse them. Two more lids and a few more rings. If you are going to use a salt in your canning, use one without iodine. It discolors and I guess might do some other funky stuff to your food. So just don't have any iodine in your salt. I don't buy any salt with iodine on it, just so that I keep it on hand and it's ready to can at whatever purpose. And in fact, I use pink Himalayan salt because it has over 80 minerals found in it. So yeah, that's just a little tip from me. Just get the pink Himalayan salt or the Celtic gray salt, something like that, with a bunch of minerals in it without iodine. So now all my jars are ready. Let's go into the stock pot, water bath, canning pot, whatever you want to call it. Basically same difference. Woo! Put it over on this side first. Now I don't have the water quite hot yet because I got the glass coming in, and these have been sitting in the sink out of a frozen state since last night after work. There was still a chunk of frozen solids in there, but it wasn't bad. So that's why it's lukewarm, and I'm got the jars in there now because I'm wanting them to acclimate. All right, here we go. I need to add a bit more water. Theoretically, you're going to want it an inch above your lids. Now, in steam canning, they don't cover their lids, and Amish ladies will also tell you that they don't particularly worry about that as much either. Some Amish ladies. I haven't talked to them all now, so they don't worry. Some of them don't worry about that so much either. It does just fine. But I'm going to go ahead and top her off where she needs to be. And after it starts going to a rapid boil, I set the timer on either my phone or the stove for 30 minutes. If I were to be canning quarts, I'd probably go for an hour, 45 minutes to an hour. But these pints and smaller, I'm just going to go for a half hour on. So I'm getting my birds taken care of, and like I said, since it's going to be really hot the next couple days, I'm going to use the little water. I just bought a bigger one for the camper. I'm going to use this literal one to put some poultry cell in it because it's loaded with vitamins and minerals and stuff. So it's just to help them out during this heat stress and all that fun stuff. So we're going to do that. Duh. It's been a little bit and we're still not boiling yet. I got it on high and the lid on. So it's starting to bubble. But we're not boiling. So maybe we'll give it a few more minutes, 5-10 more minutes, and check on it again. So I just called the birds and they're very excited. This water lasts about 3 days for these birds right now, and today's the day I need to fill it. I saw it last night, and I knew I was going to come out this morning and do all this. Dump that out for them. See, that's on a rubber mat up there. This part of the floor I had to replace. this spring because there was a heat lamp on top of the dog cage, and somehow it fell down and burnt part of the floor and the comforter. And so, yeah, so those are the Red Island Reds and the Americanas. And I have one barred rock left back there from the last hatch out, which I also have to clean the incubator out today. That was an old dust bath with diatomaceous earth and stuff. My birds had mites a couple years ago. So let me go get these birds some food and some regular Joe water, and they'll be taken care of. I think it's time to go ahead and start the timer. We'll turn the stove on low now. And that's what I got left, so I'll have another batch, not a third, and that's fine. What else I have to do this morning? I have to fertilize the tomatoes. That's right. So I gotta go take care of that. I'm just looking at the porch plants. Yeah, I'm gonna restart some Brussels sprouts today. I got some that are going pretty strong, and that's cool, but I'll restart some more. And then my hen and chicks, I don't know, man. I don't know. It wasn't a big bowl. I've also given up, basically. No, we have new leaf on the olive tree, and it's not dead. It's still green. So we got, I don't know what happened. I think it just got too dry or something on the olive tree, but it's still alive. So we're gonna try to see if we could get her to come back. We'll take all these stupid dead leaves off so she doesn't have to worry about those no more. In the growing season, it's a good idea to go ahead and remove all the dead. In the winter time, remove the dead right away before they're fully dried out, is what I'm trying to say. In the winter time, you're going to want to make sure the leaves are fully dead like this before removing them. Just because the plants in the winter time, unless you're on your grow lights, they're in more of a dormant stage. They're not in their active growing stage, people will say, you know. Now let's look at this. I watered the basil this morning, and I'm probably going to keep basil potted because I'm probably going to end up bringing it in the house and picking it fresh. I have tomatoes to pick this later today too, and I also want to show you how the tomatoes are doing. So this is going to need pruned back a little bit more, you know. They're going to need a little bit more help before going into the ground, but they're retaining moisture, they're green, and they're looking great. So I couldn't be happier about how they turned out. Now, I'm sure them peppers down there could definitely use a drink, but it rained surprisingly last night. It sure did. That being said, now I'm going to rethink whether I should fertilize the tomatoes today or not. I'm probably going to wait till tomorrow evening because you should not fertilize healthy plants in the heat like this. You should wait. So all of my plant app chores, I will water them, but I'm not going to fertilize them, and I will mark them as that. So it'll remind me next time, hey, maybe you should fertilize that plant. So that's the plans for today. And then later on this afternoon, I have Master Gardeners, and I'm excited to start that. It's just the orientation though. All right, guys, I'm gonna get off here, and I love you, and so does Jesus. God bless.